let us begin our journey towards GST, which is one of the important indirect tax as far as Indian tax regime is concerned. There was a GST bill in 2016 and the act came into existence in 2017. There are several GST. We have CGST, that is Central GST Act 2017. We have SGST, State Goods and Service Tax Act 2017. We have UTGST, we have IGST. But honestly, in our syllabus, we have only and only CGST. For one particular thing, we need to refer IGST when it comes to, thank you Parth for the correct answer. Yes, CGST, SGST, IGST, and there is one more GST, which is UTGST, Union Territory. Yes, Kajal, always you mention the student to put their roll numbers followed by their first name. That will be convenient for us to keep their attendance record. Thank you. Today, even last session, we have seen how GST is personally and professionally very, very important for all of us. We go anywhere, we buy anything, we take any services, the GST will be an integral part of the entire payment or entire bill. So we should be aware where we need to pay the GST, where we need not have to pay the GST, to whom we are supposed to pay the GST, to whom we need not have to pay the GST, etc., etc. These things are very, very important and integral part of our study. So again, this entire journey of GST is not, you should not consider it only for the sake of clearing your exam, but it is also important that you should know the integrity of it and you should apply this thing in your personal and professional life on daily basis. Whether it is BAP or BCom, the syllabus is remain same. Uh, we have only this part in our syllabus. So let me take you to the syllabus directly. Your class teacher must have shared the syllabus with you all. You can very much verify the syllabus with this. Okay? And you can verify whether the things are moving on the right direction or not. So we have total 5 modules, whereby first module is purely theoretical into nature and which is very vital and very important as far as current exam system is concerned, because you have seen the current exam system which is due to pandemic in multiple choice question, whereby the importance of theory chapter is very, very vital, very important, because from there setting the objective questions, because you have to read in between the line, is very simple, and all the faculties are preferring to have such kind of things which will be convenient enough for them for set the multiple choice questions. I told you the very basic importance of GST which we have learned during last session with this example. Okay, I told you in indirect tax system, we have discussed the difference between direct and indirect taxes, and we have also seen that in indirect tax system that taxable person can shift their burden from one to another. So what will happen in such scenario? There is no appropriate track by the government agency when it comes to tax collection. So what GST has done into it, prior to that also there was VAT, that was also very effective. They also did very great job, but that again has to be replaced with GST. So GST has given very, very vital things as far as tax collection is concerned. So we will now realize, and first and foremost, I'm telling you, you go to, any country, you'll find almost every country across the globe, they follow GST. So it is not going to help you in India, but even though you will be going abroad, you have to pay the tax, indirect tax in form of GST only. Of course, their taxation system might be different, their act might be different, but the nomenclature is same. When it comes to now, as per the GST regime, suppose manufacturer has sold the goods to the wholesaler, okay, of rupees 200, and let's say for example the tax rate is 10%. So the total tax output tax is how much? 20. So the cost of the product is 220 rupees. Okay. So when they are paying this tax, the wholesaler will always have the right to avail the benefit of the tax which has been paid by the manufacturer. Okay. So when the wholesaler is selling this goods to the retailer for rupees 250, whereby they bought the goods is in 220 rupees, and he is paying extra he is paying 25 rupees. He is liable to pay the tax of 25 rupees at the rate of 10%, because now the goods is costing 250. Earlier the cost is 200. Now the cost is 250. So 200, 10% of 200 was 20, which has been paid by manufacturer. Now the liability of wholesaler is 10% of 250. That comes to 25 rupees. So when it comes to 25 rupees of output tax liability, he will ask for input tax credit. ITC, very important word. Please keep in mind, it will come every now and then when there is a tax computation in following chapters. So when there is a liability of 25, he will take the input tax credit of 20 which has been paid by manufacturer, and is liable to pay the next tax to the government only 5 rupees. So now they cannot say that they have not sold this and that which we have discussed during last session of ours. Okay. Again, suppose this wholesaler is selling the goods to retailer, and retailer is finally selling the goods to consumer at 300 rupees. Okay. So when they are trying to sell the goods at 300 rupees, again the liability of 300 will be 10%, 30 rupees. So retailer is not going to pay that 30 rupees of output tax liability. Again, he is going to ask for input tax credit, ITC. ITC, again I'm telling you, section 16 is dedicated for this. So 16 to 21. So all these sections we are going to learn in due course of journey of our GST. I think when I was teaching you direct tax, that time also I was very particular about section. When we are learning indirect taxes, we need to be very particular about section. From the day first, we should know which all sections are there in our syllabus, how these sections is going to assist us for our entire learning of GST. Of course, any act, first section is always about introductory part. Section 2 is always talking about definition. Similarly, in GST, particularly CGST, first section is about introductory. Second, what is the limit, where it is going to applicable. Second section is about definition. 3, 4, 5, 6 is talking about GSTN, how the GSTN network to work, how the state government will contribute, how there is connectivity, who will responsible, how the every finance minister of every state will be the part of GSTN, etc., etc. How the integration to be take place, how the division of tax collection to be done, etc., etc. Section 7 is very important, which is going to talk about supply. Section 8 is again very important, which is going to talk about mixed and composite supply. Section 9 is going to talk about your levy and collection of tax. Section 10 talks about composition scheme. Section 11, exemptions from GST. Section 12, time of supply for goods. Section 13, time of supply for services. Section 14, change of rate. Section 15, value of supply. Section 16 to 21 is going to talk about ITC, and section 22 to 30 is going to talk about registration. So these are 30 sections which are there in our syllabus of CGST. There are 4 sections of IGST which also we need to learn, which is going to talk about place of supply. That will be section 11, 10, 11, 12, 13 of IGST Act. So this is how all the sections journey will come, and we will going to learn in entire GST of semester 6 of indirect tax. So again, as I told you, when it comes to the liability of retailer of 30, he will ask for input tax credit of 25. How? 20 which has been paid by a manufacturer and 5 which has been paid by wholesaler. So his input tax credit is 25, and finally he is liable to pay the tax of 5 rupees. So try to understand, now no wholesaler is going to buy from any manufacturer which are not registered or who have not paid tax. Why? Because if they are going to do so, then the liability will be on the head of wholesaler. So wholesaler will always try to buy from such manufacturer who has already paid the tax, so that he can get the input tax credit. Similarly, no retailer will be very much agreeing to buy from such wholesaler who are not registered, who have not paid the tax. They also again going to consider such kind of wholesaler who has already paid the tax, so that their tax liability should be reduced to a greater extent. So that is why with this, now there is very less amount of tax evasion. People pay tax at right time and keep the record also. And paying of the tax is also very simple. So you need not have to worry much as far as payment of GST is concerned. Entire thing is online. Online payment is done through any kind of online payment system. You can pay off the GST liability. So that is how the GST is so very important for the government also, and for us also. And I hope just now I told you all these things, GSTN, all these sections, supply, types of supply, right? Levy and collection 9, composition 10, exemption 11, time of supply 12, place of time of supply for services 13. Only for place of supply we need to refer another act, IGST Act. I'll tell you how and why, because then it has to be between 2 states, so IGST Act to be followed. Nothing is specified in CGST as far as place of supply is concerned. Again, rate of tax 14, value of supply 15, ITC entirely from 16 to 21, and registration entirely till cancellation, till revocation from 22 to 30 of CGST. Am I clear till your? Okay? And again, may you have start or stop keeping your video mode on. Please keep your video mode on, then we should have two-way interaction. Okay, I do not expect all the students, at least the students who were good enough, who were responding in semester 1, they also now, वही बोलता है ना, एक एप्पल पूरे टोकरी को खराब कर देता है. Same thing is happening in your division also. So I hope things has been clear to you. What is GST, indirect tax? Okay, now it is including in J&K. Effective date, very important, from 1st July. So everything is very, very important. Okay, on the supply of goods and services, except which are there on the negative list or exemption under section 11, destination of consumption tax, it helps to avoid double taxation. You have seen there is no possibilities of double taxation. Everyone, might be wholesaler, might be retailer, might be manufacturer, they are paying their share of tax. What is they are liable to pay. Okay. So that is why the supply, I mean, we have seen Sale of Goods Act. Okay. So whereby transfer definition were there, but when it comes to services, how we can, talk about, suppose electricity, suppose there are many services, transportation. So that is why the word supply came into existence as far as GST is concerned. Very important. Okay, very important supply concept. And then we will also going to say, see how there is a, what are the basic difference between composite supply, mixed supply, how it has to be identified, etc. etc. Of course, GST has simplified the tax structure. It removed the cascading effect. Just try to understand when we had more than 30 different tax, even 1% also, if we will consider all the tax together, it will be more than 30, and people used to pay almost 50% of the value in form of taxation, which was the pathetic situation of India. After this, the highest tax rate, you must be knowing, in GST regime is 28, and that is why the government also has a huge amount of tax collection. Okay, which will of course going to have the very important aspect, and there is a reduction in price. It also increasing the revenue to the government. So these are very, very important benefits for GST. I told you there were these many different central tax and state tax were levying. These are some of them. Okay, altogether if you take, there were almost 30 plus taxation, indirect taxation, which were prevailing in India before GST. All were clubbed together, and we have framed a new kind of tax regime, that is GST. So it is simplifying the tax structure. It also removing the cascading effect. Okay. So this is all several benefits of GST. I have given you the example over here. So there are three type of taxation as per as GST is concerned. One is IGST, which is integrated one, when you are making the transaction between the state, and other is CGST, SGST or UTGST when you are selling within state. Now, the very important thing which we need to understand over here is interstate transaction and intrastate transaction. Now, can anybody is going to explain me the concept of interstate and intrastate? Very important. What do you mean by interstate and intrastate? You can unmute yourself and you can get me the answer. I've given this option to you all. Very bad and very sad. Particularly Santosh, Rutuja, Piyush, Payal, Sanovar, who are answering, Satvik, they are also like them only, like others. Okay, let me explain. Uh, you have seen in your academic career, there were events in your college, and there were certain events which were within the college, and there were certain events which were between the college. Okay, if we'll take the example of Tarangan, which is your college fest, how many of you are aware about Tarangan? Have you studied in Thakur College? Yes, I got certain answer. अभी जागा है इन लोग को बोला तो. Yes, good. I have started getting answer. Thank you very much. So you have seen, because you have spent at least 3 or 5 years in Thakur College, there are several colleges participant comes into our college and they participating for the event, they either win or lose, etc. But so that is an intercollegiate event where other colleges can participate for the event. But you have also seen your fresher, your send off, yes or no? Or other activity which is conducted within the college, yes or no? Between two departments. So those are known as intra-college events within the college. So similarly, that same concept is going to help us even in GST. If the transaction, the supply is within the territory of state, whatever the state territory is there, any state, it will be known as intra-state transaction. Okay? Or it might be state, it might be union territory, no problem. Okay? And if it is between two states, from one state to another state, then it will be known as interstate. Interstate. So just let me know. You can see, rather than typing, it will be always easy that you can unmute and give your answer. If there is a supply from Mumbai to Pune, will it be considered as interstate or intrastate? Mumbai to Pune. So if it is Mumbai to Pune, what will be counted as So I am very thankful that Rutuja again, Rutuja, Priya, Anish, Santosh, Kajal, Mittal, Ashish, Gopika. These student has got me the right answer. It is intra-state within the state because both the city is there inside Maharashtra state. Okay. Suppose if there is a transaction between Mumbai to Surat, if the goods is sold from Mumbai to Surat, yes, again very right answer, interstate. You all are right. Okay. Mysore to Bangalore, Mysore to Bangalore. We are talking about interstate and intrastate. Okay. So again now see, we are getting intra also, we are getting inter also. This is what we are lacking. Okay. I have not started some important things. Sambalpur to Barhampur. Sambalpur to Barhampur. There is a supply between Sambalpur to Barhampur. So I okay. So you must have understood why I'm making this kind of complexity in your simple question, because when they will ask GST question, it is not always Mumbai Pune or Mumbai Surat, the cities which are known to you. Any city of India they may ask, and I know how strong your geography is. So in such cases, if you are not knowing whether it is within the state or it is between two states, your position will be very, very difficult to attempt those questions. So in GST, it is not important that we should know only this conceptual thing. It is also very important for us to know the geographical things, particularly in India and outside India also. Okay, because if such things are there in your question, it is very, very important for you to segregate whether GST will be applicable or not. Because if it is between export and import, I will teach you in section 13 of IGST Act. Thereby, there is no applicability of GST. So it's very, very important that we should know the conceptual things within, between, and at the same time, geographical things also. Is this clear to all of you? Yes or no? Then in subsequent lecture, now we had 2 lectures of theory. Now we will be going to have the practical, because there is different. Thank you very much again, Sanovar, Ashish, Krishna, Gaurav. I mean, these are quite a few students who are active, and that is why I always insist you all kindly keep your video mode on, otherwise it will be one-way communication. We don't know what you are doing. And again, I do expect you continue with the same notebook which you had in last semester as direct text. Continue in that only if you have the pages. If you don't have the pages, start the new book and keep all these records, which is very, very important for you all for GST. Start